Hello, today I'm going to talk about shutter speed. Shutter speed is just another way of controlling your light when you're filming, but it also has a different aspect to it, because what you can do with shutter speed is you can create motion blur. Motion blur in filming is when, say, you've got an action shot, there's a subject moving, somebody's running across your screen. If you have a lower shutter speed, they're going to look blurred, and that can make a really nice, smooth look. And then, again, if you wanted to shoot something in slow motion, you are going to need a higher shutter speed because you want the crisp details in the shot. So you'd bump it up, and then what you'd be able to see was the crisp details in the shot. A rule of thumb when using your shutter speed is basically to double your frame rate. This means that the shutter's going to close at least twice in every shot. So, in every frame, sorry. So, if you were shooting at 25 frames per second, the ideal shutter speed you'd be using is 1/50th of a second. If you were shooting something higher than that, then you'd obviously double it. So, if you were shooting slow motion, 50 frames per second, you'd want it at 100 frames per second, because you're doubling it each time. If you double your frame rate, double your shutter speed. That's a good rule of thumb. As you can see in this video, basically, if you watch me wave my hand, you can see that in this one I used 50 frames per second, and you can see a motion blur in my hand, and it's not quite crisp, and you can there's just blur there. And if you want that, great. If you don't want it, not so great. So now in this example, I bumped up the shutter speed. What that's done is, as you can tell, is each frame is much clearer. You can see my hand clearly, but as you've noticed, the shot's a lot darker. I haven't changed anything else but the shutter speed. The reason for this is because the shutter speed basically covers your DSLR sensor or your film on your camera. So if you've got your shutter speed closed more in every single frame, the frame's going to be darker because there's going to be less light allowed to get to your sensor. That's why your shot's going to look darker, because there's less light getting to them, the same as with your exposure and your f-stop. If you have a higher f-stop, there's less light getting to your sensor. So that's how the shutter speed works. Thank you.